Everybody needs the song "Money, Money, Money, Money."
This is the one.
Money. This is the one. This is the one right here. The millions of dollars from Prop 22. So, yes. What is going on, everybody? It is Show Me the Money Club, live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We got a great show for you today. If you didn't know, there was a huge article that came out on Wednesday last week. Basically, it was something Sergio was working with another driver, Pablo, which we're going to be bringing on, as well as the writer of the article from the LA Times, Brian, who will be coming on in just a few moments. So we're going to first do our rundown. But first, Sergio, how you doing today? How you feeling?
Man, it's been a blur of a week. I'm feeling great. Seriously, it's been like amazing, but I'm feeling great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, we got a great show for everybody. First, like I said, we're going to be bringing Pablo and Brian on in just a few minutes, talking about the article. Basically, Prop 22 had a stipulation in there when it came to adjustments and how Pablo was able to find it, work with Sergio, make it happen, get millions upon millions of dollars for drivers in back pay, which is great to hear. So we're going to be talking about that in just a few moments. Then we're going to be talking about our Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award winner. We have our May winner that we're going to announce. Then we are also going to be talking a few topics beyond that, which is going to be, is Uber following Lyft in cutting costs? Also, is Uber losing money on you? There's some screenshots floating out there that Uber could be losing a lot of money on you. So we're going to be showing that, talking about that. And then Sergio, what's going on? Are you becoming an ant, a Lyft ant? And are you going to be joining Uber crew? So we're going to be talking about that. We got some comments, some screenshots, and we're going to do a more formal thank you. But we want to thank you real quick first for 150,000 subscribers over here on our YouTube channel, even though some people might be watching it on some other things like Twitter or Facebook. We don't want to forget you guys. But yes, thank you for that. We'll do a little bit more later then. So with that being said, before we want to thank today's sponsor, which is Ualett. We've had them on recently, a couple weeks ago. Basically, if you need cash, they are here to help you. So if you have that check engine light on and you put some tape over it, like I keep mentioning, because you don't want to deal with it or you don't want to get it fixed and you don't want your passengers to know, this might be the time where you can get a cash advance from Ualett, and they will be able to help you out. So here is a quick blurb about Ualett.
RideShare driver who needs extra cash, meet Ualett. We're a cash advance company trusted by over 90,000 drivers. We help drivers who need cash advances for paying insurance, vehicle maintenance repairs, gas money, and any of your business-related endeavors. We have an extremely fast application process, allowing you to have your money in 24 hours. It's fast, no impact on your credit score, and no credit checks. We approve your application based on cash flow from your rideshare business. Join Ualett today and never worry about being strapped for cash again.
All right, so that is Ualett. Again, if you are in need of some extra money, check out Ualett. Link is going to be in the description below. If you use code RIDE10, it will get you 10% off of your first deal. All right, with that being said, let us get right into the topic. We have Pablo and Brian coming on. Pablo is a driver who has, kind of took a look at the law, read the law. It's very important what we've talked about when it came to reading law, understanding different things. And, something happened over the last 18 months that you had figured out. So, Pablo, thank you for coming on. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Great.
Great.
And then also the person who broke the story, Brian, coming from the LA Times. Hello, thank you for coming on.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me. And congrats to you both. What an achievement here. It's so nice to see it reverberating out already. I mean, I'm getting ahead of myself here maybe, but yeah, congrats are in order, certainly.
Well, without your amplification, we wouldn't be here. But we're all going to get into that. I don't know how long you're going to hang out here for, but would love to have you for the whole show. But I'm sure you have kids and whatever not. You're busy. But yeah, we'll get into that. And so Chris, usually I do the interviews on this thing, but Chris is going to moderate the whole thing today because I'm actually part of the interview now.
Yeah. So it's a little different. Usually I'm doing the production and behind the scenes stuff while you're doing the interviews and stuff. So I can, change the slides and all that. I'm just taking it all on today, but that's basically Sergio is part of the story. So, we can't have you interviewing as you're doing yourself. So no problems there. But all right. So first off, let's talk about this. First, let's talk about a brief explanation of what Prop 22 is, kind of why Prop 22 came about in California, and then how has it affected California drivers prior to this whole adjustment change.
All right, I'll take that one, and then the rest is Pablo's. So Prop 22 was pushed by all the gig companies in California at the last national elections in 2020. It was replacing something called AB5, which became the law of the land for about 9 months, for those 9 months, all these gig companies obviously pretty much ignored the law. And AB5 basically codified everybody as employees, everybody meaning all the gig workers of all these companies. And then they wrote their own law with their $220 million support, pushed it through the national elections. It was the most expensive proposition in the history of the country, actually. And they passed it. So what Prop 22 does is it has two kind of, it gives some benefits to certain drivers. It all depends on how many hours you're driving per week. And all of this is on active time. So I want you to understand, whoever's watching or going to watch it later, active time meaning with a passenger in the back seat, meaning from the time you accept the trip or request to the time to drop off. Now, this is valid for rideshare. This is valid for food delivery, last mile delivery, and Prop 22, basically all these gig companies. So let's go with Uber, Lyft on rideshare, Uber Eats, Doordash, Grubhub, Instacart, Amazon Flex, Target Shipped, Walmart Spark, all these companies fall under Prop 22. So Prop 22 has two parts of it, main parts of it, which is it's guarantees basically for active hours that you're driving, your city's minimum wage at 120% clip. So in LA County, where I'm at, that number is $15.20. 120% of that puts us at $19.20. Plus, there was this mileage or maintenance adjustment added to Prop 22 for drivers, which for 2020 was at 30 cents per mile, active mile. Again, you have to really pay attention to active mile. And what happened is, Prop 22 was the law of the land. These companies, wrote the law, and April 13th of this year came around and Pablo stepped in, and there you go. That's what Prop 22 is. Now, there's other things in Prop 22, but only about 8 to 9% of drivers, rideshare drivers, get that benefit. It's a healthcare stipend, but that's not the issue we're going to discuss today. The issue we're going to mostly focus on today is going to be that 30-cent additional maintenance or mileage adjustment that Prop 22 had.
And so you already talked about the earnings guarantee, which is good. So it kind of set that up, and then this mileage adjustment. So what is the adjustment that was made?
Well, the adjustment what happened is that the adjustment, the way the law was written, there had to be an adjustment made to that 30 cents a mile starting January of 2022. And it had to be figured out by the California Treasurer's Office and published by them so that these gig companies start paying the adjusted figure. And it wasn't done. So all of 22 went by. It wasn't done. Then 23 came around under the law. They had to do another adjustment. Now, this adjustment was done with the CPIU rate. CPIU is a consumer price index of the country. And the treasurer had to do this again in January of 2023, which they did not do. So when obviously Pablo got in touch with me, like, all of this started with a simple, innocent text from him to me on April 13th of this year. And he texted me, something, and then we have the screenshots, obviously. I did not know anything about this. The other thing is Pablo is a very successful rideshare driver. Most rideshare drivers, due to the fact that they make more than the minimum wage, may not be receiving this mileage adjustment. However, if you're, we call them ants, lovely ants. If you're a super ant and accept every rideshare trip, you most likely are going to receive this adjustment as well. But this is mostly for all the delivery drivers. And we know, according to Pew Research, there are about 1.3 to 1.4 million gig workers in California. So it's a huge market. And so Pablo texted me this, and then we started digging. So now you can take over, bud.
Yeah. So Pablo, let's hold on. Pablo, let's go back to that. Sergio had said April 13th with a text. Before that, what were you even looking at? Were you understanding, curious, going back into what the law said, or what was going on that kind of got you into trying to figure this out and see, why didn't this happen in 2022 and 2023?
Well, I read the law before, or the ballot proposition before the election in November 2020. So I was familiar with most of the text. Obviously, with time, I can remember every single detail. So in the back of my mind, I always knew that, the adjustment was never made from January 2022. So that was already in the back of my mind. But who was I going to tell? I really didn't do anything with that information. And, primarily because it didn't really affect me. That money, I wasn't gonna get any adjustment. I've never received any Proposition 22 adjustment through the whole time the law has been in effect. I don't blame Sergio for getting this detail, because April 13th wasn't the first time I had mentioned it to him. We actually met for dinner on the day that the appeals court had ruled the law constitutional. And I don't blame Sergio for not forgetting this detail, because I tell people a lot of different things and people just ignore me. So I know I dropped this little tidbit of information about this proposition, and I remember clearly that his head was spinning about the money. But obviously it was something that was just in passing. It was towards the end of our first meeting in person. And, weeks went on and nothing had happened. I really didn't touch base with Sergio on this subject again since that moment, so I don't blame him for not remembering. But then April 13th did come along, and that's when I was talking to him. I brought it back up to his attention, and we started texting. And that's the day I decided to, let me just call the treasurer's office and see what happens.
Right. So for everybody who is watching this, I know the screenshots are going to fly around quickly, because we want to get to Brian. Is that I actually, on the RideShare Guy website, we just published the article in chronological order with all the screenshots, all the proof that we had. So please go read that. It'll show you everything that you may miss today. So yeah, Pablo is correct. I had known Pablo for about a year before then. We met through social media, Twitter, and he was probably watching me on YouTube or whatever not, or reading articles. And, I was at a Roth conference in Laguna Niguel. On my way back, I said, Pablo's halfway there, so might as well meet for dinner. And that's how we met. And he nudged me on April 13th. And I was super curious about it. And we started digging, as we should, right? I mean, look, man, information, education is power. And you need to dig into things sometimes. Even if they're not worth it. And as my Tuesday partner in crime, Chris, knows, I like digging. I'm like a little pit bull. I like digging a lot. And once in a while I catch a bone, and this was a pretty big bone. But anyway, long story short, he texted me, and then, we talked. And, we thought, well, why don't we call, the person who was supposed to make this adjustment, which was the California treasurer. And sure enough, he called the California treasurer, and here's his screenshot, April 13th at 2:03 p.m. And the conversation lasted about 13 minutes. And that is the California treasurer's office number. So if you guys want to call him up, that's it right there, the 916 number. And so initially, the person who answered the phone had absolutely no idea what Pablo was talking about. Absolutely none. and then I'll have him fill in the rest of the story. But Pablo actually had to, reel her back in because she kept sending Pablo to the IRS website for the 65.5 cent standard mileage deduction, which was like, okay, these people no clue what's going on here. So
so I was talking to I'm assuming I don't know what the politically correct term, secretary, office assistant, I don't know what you call them now. She answered the phone, and I asked her about this adjustment, and she did immediately direct me to the IRS website for the 60 whatever odd cents deduction that independent contractors get. And I had to clarify that no, that wasn't what I was calling about, and I was actually calling about the Prop 22 stipulation that said that the treasurer had to publish every year an inflation adjustment on the engaged mile part of the law. So she puts me on hold, and took a little, couple minutes. She comes back on, and she still wasn't, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. So I referenced the business and professions code where this law is codified. I gave them the actual chapter number or article, whatever it's called, and subparagraph, and she puts me on hold again. And then when she comes back, she acknowledged that yes, indeed, it was something that the treasurer had to take care of, and that it would be coming out shortly. And that was it. And immediately we were texting with Sergio, but then we followed up with some phone conversations, and that was that. So that was April 13th. And you could see along with the history of the text messages on May 4th. That's when I tweeted at Fiona Ma, the treasurer of California, because I seen there was no action from that phone call, and I wanted to know what was going on.
Yeah,
and
so with us is like, when in doubt, go to social media these days, right?
Yeah.
And so Pablo tweeted this out directly to the California Treasurer's office. I chimed in a little bit. In fact, Brian's I tagged Brian. He's the second one up there, and we were just going back and forth on Twitter. And a couple of people said, "Does Ma's office even realize they have this responsibility?" Well, they did then, on April 13th, right? The only thing that I came across, in that conversation that was interesting to me was, their excuse of not publishing this, the California Treasurer's Office excuse was that Prop 22 was in litigation, meaning, a judge, a lower court judge, assumed or deemed that Prop 22 was unconstitutional in August of 2021. So the California Treasurer's Office figured, well, it's in litigation. Well, we did our due diligence and we got legal opinions, and unequivocally, all of them said, no, it's not in litigation. It's being appealed. The Prop 22 is still the law of the land. And I'm like, okay, then we need to, now we have a story. Now we have a story. And then I'm doing these back of the envelope calculations. This could be like millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. So I'm going, okay, now we need to dig deeper. I followed up actually with another call to the California Treasurer's Office before this tweet, and they said the same thing to me. It's under litigation. We're not going to publish until litigation is over. Well, litigation was over, because litigation was, according to them, so-called litigation was over when the appellate court ruled that Prop 22 was constitutional on March 15th, which was the day I met Pablo for dinner, which before all this started. So I'm like, why are you waiting until May 4th when we're tweeting now a month and a half later to publish? You should have done it on March 16th, right? Well, they didn't. So, we heard this quite a bit. Like, if we didn't figure this out, how long would this have gone? I don't know. Probably it would have gone another year. But fast forward, May 10th comes around, and to our surprise, Fiona Ma, and here it is, and then Fiona Ma tweeted out by tagging Pablo, saying that, well, here it is, we made the adjustment, and go to our website. And sure enough, even today, when you go to the California Treasurer's website, that circled box up there is the adjustment. explains what it is, how many cents it's going to go up for 2022 and 2023. And there's the tweet from Fiona Ma, the treasurer of California, to Pablo, saying that, and in fact, on that part of it on the bottom, it says "spread the news." I'm like, you're a public office. Don't you think you should do like some sort of public announcement, because we're dealing with almost 1.5 million gig workers here? And we said, okay, great. So here we are. We have the adjustment, right? Well, now I'm thinking this is not national, it's a California story, but it's pretty major. So what do? I go, okay, I package all this up. And because now I'm concerned that, getting this adjustment published is one thing. Getting the gig companies to pay is a different story altogether, because I've been dealing with them since 2015. They're pretty stingy. They don't usually pay that fast. So we get in touch. What do? Good friend Brian, which published one of our other. In about a month ago, he had done an article on algorithmic wage discrimination, and he had used some of our videos and screenshots for that as well. So I'm going like, well, we're going there. I package it all up. I go, send him the email. I go, here it is, Brian. It's in your lap now. And then, obviously had to do his due diligence, and then the rest is history. But so, Brian, again, thank you so much for amplifying our voice. We did some of the work. You did a lot of the work as well. Obviously had to do your due diligence, call the treasurer's office, call these companies. So how did that go on your end?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an interesting story. I mean, to me, it's like it is a story. Well, it's a story about, once again, I see so many of these stories where if drivers, want to get a benefit or a right or something that's entitled to them, then so often just the way that gig work, the nature of gig work, as precarious and sort of informal as it can be, the obligation often falls to drivers to make it happen themselves. You know that as well as anybody. So it's this story. I mean, it's whether that's sort of organizing at large, something like Gig Workers Rising or Rideshare Drivers United, or it's you guys at RideShare Guy kind of really digging into the data, or individual drivers finding things and raising the alarm. It's just so often just a response more than any other sector, right? More than at most, at least even in sort of service work or other part-time jobs, there are more protocols, and there are laws governing it that have been better established. There's things that are better understood, and groups that can help. It's still kind of, I mean, I know it's 10 years old, but it's still the Wild West era. So I mean, I totally, if you guys hadn't noticed this, I don't know that anybody would have. And again, they're kind of banking on it. And the other thing that I started thinking about after seeing it there is like, why do they even, I think they're kicking themselves now, because they realize that if they hadn't, added this little caveat to the law that they wrote, they wouldn't be having to make this adjustment every year now that inflation's going up and up and up. But it's kind of, that's just par for the course. They're always experimenting with, well, how can we get away with a little bit there? That was too much. Now we got to increase the incentives again to get people back on the street. But how do we, we saw it when we talked about that last story with how they've kind of moved fares to sort of the upfront pricing, where now it's more opaque, and they can kind of take, in certain situations, more of a cut. So to me, it's a story that really shows both how, if gig workers want to get anything done, they got to do it themselves still. It's still so ill-formed in such a Wild West. And on the other side, it's a Prop 22 story, which I know there's a lot of different opinions about Prop 22 out there. But to me, having spoken with a lot of the drivers who kind of really did hope and work for it to get AB5 passed, so that they could have more protections, like real full-time drivers rather. I'm sympathetic to what Prop 22 has done, and what a mess of a law in a lot of ways. Like you said, it does some decent things, and it's not like it's a complete wash, but it is sort of written to be confusing and all over the place. Pablo knows, you read the whole damn thing, so you know what a mess it can be. And when I was talking to Vina, the law scholar who's cited in my piece, she's like, yeah, this is done by design. Like, the Treasury doesn't usually do things like this. They don't adjust for wages. Like, that's a weird thing to saddle the Treasury with. And in her opinion, Uber, whoever wrote the law between Uber and DoorDash and all them, probably said, well, why don't we just shove this over there? We'll move it. Like, they distributed the different, responsibilities to different agencies to make it sort of harder to enforce and and then as you see what happens, it's been 18 months and drivers should have been getting this adjustment, this money all along. And it fell through the cracks. And I think, and I hope you talk about this more later in your show, but it's a good kind of indicator that we don't know exactly what else is falling through the cracks or how this is being administered. That every time a driver takes a ride, the rider pays a small fee that goes into this slush fund that is completely opaque. We don't know what the companies are doing with that slush fund it's a big war chest that's supposed to be for the healthcare subsidy. It's supposed to be for this vehicle mile earnings, but there's no transparency. We don't know what this fee is. We don't know how much Uber has collected. You could try to back of the envelope it and see, if you're given X million number of rides and they're taking $1 each time, it adds up to millions and millions of dollars.
Brian, as you know, we talked about this after the article came out. Me and Pablo have this feeling that this is like the tip of the iceberg, because I think after this, as convoluted as the law is, as opaque as the law is written, I think somebody has to look into this. A full audit of Prop 22, I think, is justified, to be honest with you. But that's what they do. They kick the ball to somebody and kick the can down the road. And I mean, I'm sure their lawyers were smart. They dumped it onto the treasurer's lap. I'm like, hey, why not, right? And but I'm more interested in the bigger picture, which was just like Chris was showing the screenshots. Now, educating the drivers is one thing, right? I mean, I think we need to educate the consumer, because consumers are a much larger community than the drivers are. Okay, so these are some screenshots of what an Uber Eats receipt looks like on the consumer end, on the right side, and on the left side is one of my own rideshare drives or rides I have given. So in LA County, these are both from LA County. For each single time Uber or Lyft are doing a trip, the passenger pays 75 cents. As clearly with a line item, it's indicated that it says California driver benefits with 3 asterisks next to it. Okay. And on the right screenshot, we have an Uber Eats receipt where you guys can see the 4th line item, after subtotal tax service fee, is California driver benefits. That's 99 cents. So, while Brian correctly said the back of the envelope, well, here's the back of the envelope, Brian. Uber did 2.12 billion trips globally. Okay. This is in the last 3 months only. Now we're talking from 2020. That's when January 2020, when Prop 22 kicked in. Okay. So last 3 months, Uber, according to their earnings report, they did 2.1 billion trips. 27% of Uber's revenue or sales come from California, as it does with all other gig companies, because California is a massive market. If we just go with that 27%, on an average, 75 cents to $1 has been collected from close to 500 million trips in one single quarter. We're talking since 2020. This could be billions in dollars. It really could be. Now, I'm just talking Uber now. I'm not putting Lyft in there. I'm not putting DoorDash, which has 65% of market share. On DoorDash receipts, by the way, it shows between 99 cents, $1.50 for deliveries. So for rideshare, anywhere between 45 cents and 75 cents is collected, depending on what county you're in. Like in San Francisco, it's 55 cents. But on each single trip, each single delivery, this is charged to the consumer. I don't think the consumer even knows, because how many of us order food or take trips and look at their receipts? None of us do. I mean, really. So where is this money? right? That's I think
that's a great question.
That's a legitimate question, because if these companies have all the data, which I'm assuming they do, right? And it's collected. Can you put the last screenshot one more time, Chris? The one with the 3 of them? Yeah. So that next to California driver benefits on the left screenshot, there are 3 asterisks. And the 3 asterisks, if you go to the explanation of what it is, clearly says right there, California driver benefits fee is payable by riders directly to Uber and not part of your driver earnings. Great. If it's directly paid by Uber, well, Uber should know how many of these 75 cents or dollars they have collected, because it's pretty simple math, right? Now, if you go back to 2020, this could be a lot of money. I mean, I'm certain it's going to be a lot of money. And now multiply that by Doordash and Lyft and Instacart and all these other companies which have passed on this Prop 22 driver benefits to the consumer. I think we need to look into this, and I'm obviously, we're going to work with Brian on this, hopefully. I mean,
right? Like, I mean, if they say the whole argument was like, no, like we want to keep drivers flexible. So instead of having Uber pay full healthcare, this is like your health. This is your half. If you drive 20 or 30 hours and you get a subsidy, and we'll pay. But so how much of that is actually being paid out? Like what percentage?
Yeah.
How do we know they're actually allocating the funding properly? And how do we know, that they're the answer is we don't have any idea.
I have no idea. I have no idea, Brian. Honestly, I have no idea.
And within the on the healthcare subsidy part, there's so many people who, with the RideShare, you qualify for government, sponsored, healthcare. Or if you work with somebody, your wife or your husband, who gets full benefits, well, then you have healthcare, and you are not going to see that healthcare subsidy. And it's specifically written where it has to be a California choice or, Obamacare sponsored healthcare. And if it doesn't qualify, then you get nothing. So there's a big percentage of drivers who are not going to get a subsidy for one reason or another. And it really shouldn't be that opaque. The law was written in a way, even with the engaged mile part. If you look at historical data from the last decade, 1% was the average. So if you look at that, there would be no adjustment if historical trends continued. So we wouldn't have this massive inflation spike. That we wouldn't have seen. The first, adjustment would have been 30 cents, 0.1, and it would just be estimated back downward to 30 cents. So we wouldn't even get to 31 cents if it would have been historical data. So it was written in a couple of ways. It was written, first of all, with historical data, thinking in their head, that, hey, it's not, what's the big deal? It's not going to be, more than 1%. We're never going to pay more than 30 cents. And then the other thing is, let's hide it into the treasurer's responsibility, where, hey, if she catches it, great. And if not, who cares, right? If you look at all the communications from Uber on Prop 22 and from Lyft and from Doordash prior to this adjustment, that adjustment was never mentioned. Yeah. Everything else, it breaks it down on how do you qualify for your healthcare, how do you qualify for the engaged mile, all that stuff. But it never said, hey, starting on 2022, or, it's going to be adjusted. That adjustment just came out of nowhere. Like nobody knew about it. And hey, by the way, the treasurer screwed up and here's your money. So, on Twitter, I see a lot of, the hate, or people that are citing on the gig companies. And trust me, I'm a capitalist, so I get the whole notion of like, hey, if I was running Uber and Lyft, I would try to maximize my profits. I understand that motivation. But when you have a history, especially with Uber, of constantly doing things, of stealing tips and getting sued and creating riots and fights with taxis in Paris, there's this constant, mantra with Uber of like always doing the wrong thing. And not until being pushed into doing the right thing do they do the right thing. So that's how I look at this whole picture. I hope that this puts a spotlight on this, and that we seriously talk to our politicians to fix this, right? Because it's not working the way it is, and I hope this story that Brian wrote opens that door to more scrutiny.
Yeah, well, I do too, and I once again, I tip my cap proverbially to you guys for uncovering this, for staying on top of it, and it is crazy that this is what you got to do in order to make sure the law gets upheld, but it's the way it is. And without you guys pouring over the details and turning the screws, who knows what happens. So I actually have to bounce. And on that note, I look forward to looping back around and seeing what else you uncover. I'm sure we'll be in touch. And I think this project of looking at
Brian, before you go, just give us
Yeah.
one more minute. So I know I'm going to hopefully meet Brian, hopefully sometime next week. We'll have lunch and, toast our take a victory lap. But could you, because I mean, look, most of you know Brian as an LA Times journalist, but Brian is obviously amazing author. And I'm actually maybe quarter of the way through his last book called Blood of the Machine. So can you actually talk a little bit about your books, a couple of them, and then people can go on Amazon and check them out?
Yeah, I guess the most relevant one here is Blood in the Machine, which is out in a couple months, but it is sort of about this history of how technology gets used in different environments, and sort of the ways that it can be used to disrupt sort of the way that we work and the way that we live, using sort of the very first example of the Industrial Revolution and how that sort of impacted jobs. And I talk a lot about sort of what gig companies have done, and again, like, there's good things and bad things about these gig companies. A lot of them do, like, some of them behave more ethically than others, but they are all doing certain things kind of intentionally, it seems like, to sort of change the way that the game is played, ultimately in their favor. Again, that's what capitalists do, and that's just sort of the way of things. But we see patterns in the way technological systems and automation and different systems get used by entrepreneurs to try to restack the deck. So Blood in the Machine is that. It's the story of the Luddites, who were cloth workers, who were sort of raging against the machine of their time. And then I bring it up through the present, and I follow Amazon workers, Uber drivers, folks looking at AI sort of coming for their jobs. So that's the most relevant one.
It's a great book, everybody. I highly recommend you guys go check it out. Obviously, it's on Amazon, and he's got 2 other books, but the latest one, Blood of the Machines, highly recommended. So, Brian, much love. Thank you, man. Thank you for showing up.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
You'll hear from me again. Don't worry.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Take care.
All right. So I got a big question for you guys. We've had these companies pay out, and they paid out quick. They paid out back pay. They didn't mess around. At least Uber, DoorDash, Lyft. I think Grubhub's on there. I'm not sure about the other ones. I don't know if Spark or any of those had paid out or done anything yet. Why do you think they paid out so fast, and that they paid out, that they made it so quickly? Pretty much once that announcement was made and put on the Treasury's Office Department website, then all of a sudden, within a couple of weeks, those dominoes started falling. You started seeing DoorDash and Uber start pulling out these repayments, and all of a sudden drivers were waking up one day on Monday, hey, why do I have $38 in my account? Why do I have $270 in my account? And that's, then the email. Why do you think, though, that they paid out so quickly with zero real blowback or anything from it?
Yeah. I mean, I think we both agree, me and Pablo, on this, is that, once the treasurer announced or published the adjustment, which went from 30 cents to 32 cents for all of 2022, and it went from 32 cents to 34 cents for all of 2023. What happened is that within 10 days, well, she published that on May 10th of this year, right? Didn't hear anything from Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all the main players, for about 10 days. And then first it was DoorDash. This is my wife's email that she got from DoorDash, saying that an update to your mileage pay in California, meaning we're going to do the adjustment. Now, my concern, as well as I think Pablo's, was that since the treasurer had published this on May 10th, and this is my email I got from Uber, this is published on May 10th. My concern was that they're just going to say, well, we're just going to go forward from the date that it was published, May 10th, and we're going to go forward and continue paying that. As on the right screenshots, you guys can see it says adjusted rate of 34 cents per mile. So I'm going like, well, let's see what's going to look like. But to my surprise and to my joy, really, both DoorDash started with the first email saying we're going to go back retroactively, pay for 2022 at a 32-cent rate and pay for 2023 at a 34-cent rate. And then Uber followed, and then Lyft followed, and then just this past weekend, Grubhub and Instacart joined. Spark has joined. Here's the caveat. I'm getting a lot of emails saying that I've been driving for Uber for 3 years. I didn't get any penny. That's because you already met the minimum, and the minimum is on active hours, meaning if you did one single trip per hour and that paid you $20 for a half hour of work, which is active time, you're not going to get this money. It's the law is written in a way that you're, as a rideshare driver, if you're getting Prop 22 money as a rideshare driver, you should be looking to do something else because you're definitely doing something wrong. Okay. I've been a rideshare driver since 2015. The law came into effect January 2020. I had never received 1 cent from January 2020 all the way to last year, July, that when I started doing deliveries. Guess what? Once I started doing deliveries, which was my first delivery was July of last year, I've done 1,100 of them so far. Every single 2 weeks, because Uber Eats pays in a 2-week clock and DoorDash pays in a 1-week clock. Every single week I have gotten Prop 22 money. Now, the adjustment came, and I got $86 from Uber. My wife got, between Uber and DoorDash, a couple $100. Just in this household, we got $300, which is money. Look, the best money is the money you didn't have yesterday, and it shows up out of the blue. You got $300, right? Now, the top numbers that I have received personally, one driver received $1,100 on Uber Eats and $700 on DoorDash. So it's going to be a lot of money. Now, as lack of transparency exists when you're actually doing the work, right? When we're delivering, there are hidden tips. There's all kinds of BS that they pull on us as delivery drivers, right? Or last mile drivers. They are doing the same thing now because the money just showed up, like without an explanation. Now, I'm a nerd. I keep a detailed spreadsheet of every single trip that I do, okay? I exactly knew that my active miles for 2022 and 2023 were 3,576 miles. And the $85.75 I received from Uber Eats was exactly what I should have gotten. But then, if you guys look at my wife's DoorDash money that she received, that was not even a line item. It was just money showed up. Like, it didn't even say California Prop 22 adjustment. It didn't say anything. So I'm not sure how many people are like me and do their spreadsheets and figure out their active miles that they have driven. I think they owe these drivers a total breakdown. Like, okay, you drove 11,000 active miles. You should get this much for 2022. You should get this much for 2023. Even in this, there is a lack of transparency. But a lot of people are getting a ton of money. We are thrilled about it. And, the fight will go on. I mean, we're not going to stop here, obviously, now. And, yeah.
Can I add something too? On the transparency part, this is how crazy things are. With Lyft and the old switcheroo that you used to get. So you're driving to pick up somebody, and it's 5 miles away, whatever it is. You're just picking it up, and then they switch you over to another one. That rider cancels, and so you drove, let's say, 15 minutes to go pick up that first guy, 5 miles. It got switched. There is no record of that on your that you drove those miles.
Yep.
If they took them out, they're gone. And the convoluted part of Prop 22 is that where the ride starts, it's 120% above minimum wage of the locale. So LA City has a different minimum wage than LA County, or I believe Santa Monica and Long Beach here in LA and California, San Francisco. So you theoretically could start in Orange County and at Disneyland, which is a lower minimum wage, and then move into LA County, unincorporated LA County, and it's a different minimum wage, and then go and take another ride at LA City, and it's another minimum wage. And when you get a receipt from like Lyft, it aggregates everything.
Yep.
So it doesn't even tell you what hours were at what point at what rate. Everything's just lumped together. I mean, at least Lyft gives you a breakdown of miles, and then that breakdown with the time. With Uber, you're just getting like, you didn't qualify here. It's like really simple, nothing. And in this adjustment, the only one that I saw broken down, and it was really funny because even the wording was roadies. I have a friend who got like $8.88, and it just said Prop 22. Their explanation was really like, we don't even know what this is, but I guess there was a mistake, and here you go. He had never gotten anything, so obviously at 80 cents a ride, that means that it was barely a minimum wage adjustment, so they gave him the little bump, and he made $8.80. I've seen 69 cents as reimbursements. How did they get to those numbers? There is no transparency. There is no consistency. Uber does it one way. DoorDash does it a different way. They all do it differently. It's like this law that is kind of like, okay, here's what you're supposed to do. There is no tracking. If you look at the receipt from Uber, it gives you the requested time on the receipt. There's no what time the ride was ordered, what time you accepted the ride, how many miles from when you accepted the ride to pick up. It only gives you when they ordered it. It doesn't give you time of drop off. It doesn't give you every mile that's supposed to count in California, so that I could do my own math and see if I really got paid properly. Yeah. So well, I mean, they don't get the benefit of the doubt. In my book, they do not get the benefit of the doubt because they've proven one time and again that they always try to hide things. So they don't get the benefit of that. They have to prove otherwise.
Again, I want to go back to that question though. Why do you think that they paid out so quickly? We've seen them kick and scream and moan over every little thing, whether it's to benefit a driver in Seattle, Washington, Minnesota, Chicago, all these places. They kick and scream, they send out scare tactics. But this one, it's like they just rolled over with their tail between their legs and said, we're adjusting, we're going back to 2022, we're going back to 2023, and we're giving everybody retroactive pay. Why do you think these companies said we're going to do that no matter what?
It would be a PR nightmare. And if you look at it, I think that it was easy for them. They all threw the treasurer under the bus. They all did. Oh, yeah. Okay. And in reality, think about it. Like Uber called them. We know there's a couple of things that we know that we're not going to say, right? But we know that Uber called one time in January 2022. We know that they contacted, hey, what's going on with this? The treasurer gave this bogus answer, in my opinion, wrong. I don't know who gave her that legal advice, but when the law was first struck down as unconstitutional in Alameda County in August of 2021, in California, this type of law is automatically assumed that it's going to be stayed, which means put aside. So yes, okay, this judge said it's unconstitutional, but we're going to set it aside until the appeals process is going to go through. So Uber assumed and Lyft assumed from the moment that it was ruled unconstitutional that the law was still in effect. So where was Uber on January 20th when Fiona Ma said, hey, I'm not going to adjust because it's been ruled unconstitutional? At that point, Uber should have pushed back and said, I don't think so. I think that this law is supposed to be in effect, because if not, then why were they paying anything? The law was technically not in effect, according to Uber, by not paying it or by not pushing back. It was just so convenient of them to just ignore it. And then
but think of the incentive. If you pool all that money together, think about how many thousands upon millions of dollars are even tens of millions of dollars could be potentially have just got back to drivers. Think of all that money that's been pooled and sitting in accounts or investments or wherever, gaining interest and more money. You're getting all this interest for a year and a half, 18 months worth that should have been paid out to drivers already. And yet, they're sitting on it. So that January 20th call in 2022, it would only make, okay, you're not adjusting? Nah, okay. It's easy to turn the other side.
The part that irritates me the most on this, Chris, which goes to your question, is this. This is not money that they're paying out of their pocket. This is the money they've been sitting on since 2020, when Prop 22 became the law of the land. We just did the little back of the envelope calculation. This could be that they're sitting on billions of dollars, and I'm pretty sure they are not paying out what they're taking in from each single delivery and each single rideshare trip.
Oh, for sure.
What I'm saying is that the reason they paid so quick is that, one, they went to their legal department. They said, okay, what do we have here? They said, well, the massive class action lawsuit is about to hit your ass. One. Two, more than the bad PR, which they got anyway. But the second one was, it's not their money. They had the money sitting in the bank collecting interest anyway. They basically got an interest-free loan from the gig workers, 1.4 million gig workers of California. I'm like, hey, of course I'll pay you back. Hey, man, I even go back retroactively. I'll pay you back because I've been sitting on this money, itching my pockets, earning interest anyway. And we know what happened the last 2 years on interest rates, 6 months especially. They're earning juicy interest rates on these, even on short-term T-bills or whatever they have invested in. So to me, two reasons. One, class action coming up. Two, we already have the money. It's not like we're going to open the bank account and write checks everybody out of our own pocket. They already have the money. So I'm like, yeah. But I have to give them some credit that they did the right thing by going back retroactively.
But you could tell which companies are in better financial footing and which ones aren't.
Yes.
By the way they reacted to this law.
You know what? I gotta push back on that just a touch, only because I don't think it's gonna be you saying DoorDash, Uber, or Lyft, because those are the ones that put the most money into Prop 22. Those are the ones who had the lawyers draw up Prop 22. So they had a lot more, backing and knowledge of how Prop 22 is supposed to work versus somebody like Spark, who just came in the last couple of years, or even Shipped, or some of these smaller companies. They don't have the same knowledge or know-how that maybe those particular lawyers did when they were drawing it up and putting that whole legislation package together. That's one of the issues I see there when it comes to it. You see the main players, they knew what was going on. They're the ones who are the first ones to come back. The other companies who are smaller, they're the one, or may not have known or had the same foot in the game. They are the ones who are kind of like on the back end of this. So I think
I'm sorry. The one that I'm talking about. Well, Instacart was part of this, and Instacart took forever. Grubhub took forever. I mean, Uber and DoorDash had already paid out retroactively, and recent updates to the Grubhub website, still recent, within hours. And I sent the text to Sergio. It was already done. They had already paid out Uber and DoorDash, and Grubhub was still quoting the 30 cents.
Yeah,
it took them a while.
Grubhub did is, like, the announcement actually for Grubhub came on Friday while I was doing some Lyft trips. They're not going to pay until June 28th to July 4th, like a month after the announcement. I'm like, okay, you guys are out of money or what? But hey, the point is,
spend their money.
A cash crunch,
Yeah, I would like, I would like everyone who's watching now on the live and whoever's going to watch it on the replay. My email, as you all know or may not know, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. I'm getting hundreds of emails, people getting 500, 300, 400, 600, whatever it is, right? So this is going to benefit. Here's the deal. Who's going to get the most money? Bottom line, okay? Me and my wife, we're super cherry-picking delivery drivers and super part-time. The person that's going to get the most money is going to be a DoorDash driver, Grubhub driver, Uber Eats driver, full-timer who accepts 5-mile trips for $2, which is the minimum these days. Minimum fare on DoorDash and Uber Eats is $2, sometimes less, $2, $2 for 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles. And if they're doing this full-time, they have driven close to 60, 80,000 miles because, all of 2022 and all the way to May 10th, 2023, they're going to get a couple $1,000s, which they should have had. Look, I'm sure they're going to hopefully use it to some good. And the other two things that we need to raise, which I'm going to start looking into now because I'm getting a whole bunch of emails. Here's the deal. I got an email the other day, which I was actually talking to Pablo about it, and then I bounced it off Brian the other day, which I think we're going to pursue, is this. Let's say I drove all of 2022 for DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub or Instacart or Uber or Lyft or whatever. What if I got deactivated January of 2023, which happens quite a bit. Tens of thousands of people get deactivated. Well, I gave you my work. You should pay me for that. Just because you deactivated me in January 2023 doesn't mean that you shouldn't be paying me for all this mileage adjustment for 2022, right? There is another loophole that people are falling through the cracks, which I'm getting emails for. Oh, I called DoorDash. They're not answering. Here's the deal. Let's say you did gig work, you were tied at cash for 6 months, 2022, January to July 2022, and then you quit and you deleted the app. You're not going to see this cash because your bank account has been deleted with the app. Or you have to make sure that your banking account is accurate, because this is going to show up in your app. And if you're not even watching the app or doing any more gig work, those people are not going to get paid either. So we're going to make sure that everybody gets paid who is due this money, that they don't already, on top of the interest they earn these companies, that they, nobody falls through the cracks. Because I think it could be a massive crowd on top of everything else. So, that's the next leg. And lastly, the leg that I'm really interested in, where is the beef? Where's the money? You guys have all this money. Who has the accounting of this money? Because I am pretty sure during the campaign of Prop 22, where I was watching on CNN, on any other channel, nonstop, Prop 22, vote for Prop 22 commercials, not once I heard, oh, by the way, this is going to be paid for for Prop 22, paid by the consumer. We're not going to put a penny out of our pocket. If that was the case, I don't think Prop 22 would have gotten 59% of the vote to be the law of the land. Okay. So now what I want to know is, consumer has a right to have this accounting. They're paying for it. They're still paying for it. Those receipts are very current receipts. They've been paying since January 2020. If you look at the big numbers, Uber is doing 2 billion trips a quarter. That's 400 or 500 million trips in California between deliveries, last mile delivery, and rideshare. A quarter. How many quarters are in 3 years? A shit ton. Where is this money? How much are you coming in? How much are you paying out? I think the voters, they voted Prop 22 and have a right to know. And in general, the public has a right to know. So, that's going to be the next battle, to get these numbers out of all these gig companies, not just Uber. We're not picking on you, Uber, Lyft and Doordash and Grubhub and all the other ones. So that's going to be the next front of the crusade.
Nice. Well, I got to ask you guys both, how do you feel about this massive win for getting drivers what their rightful dues are back into their pockets with this retroactive pay? How's it feel?
Look, one thing I got to give credit to where it's due. So on my right, on my left, I don't know where it is now. It's on my left. This is my weekly partner in crime. On this one, this man right here, who has not gotten one single penny, not one, out of Prop 22, figured this out and brought it to me, and then we worked together and made it happen. And this gentleman didn't have to do it. I mean, he didn't have to do any of this, right? And Pablo did it, and I'm sure he feels great about it. Not even receiving a penny out of Prop 22, but he still, I'm sure, feels good about it.
Look, I have a bunch of random information because I'm a nerd and I dig on things that I probably waste too much time on. But, within my, my influence of zero, it doesn't go anywhere. Whatever information I have, it just dies there. I think this story, beyond what it means to me and how it makes me feel, is a testament to this new medium and how we all have access to people that are, like with YouTube and Twitter, that connects you to people that you normally. And I was watching you guys on screen, from last year, and then from there it's just like agreeing with stuff and disagreeing with stuff, and then commenting on Sergio's tweets, and going back and forth, and then then phone calls and text messages, and I had some personal stuff that happened during the latter part of last year that really affected my life towards the latter part of that year and the beginning of this year. And along the way, Sergio was there giving me encouragement, because it was tough. And along this, this current of the bigger picture of maybe becoming, or advocacy for the rideshare community. And so it makes me feel good that I was able to meet Sergio, and that I was able to let him in on this little thing that I knew about, and that with his network of people that he knew, that he could actually amplify it, digging through it, and then being able to letting the world know about it. Because there's a lot of things that people might know, but if it doesn't go anywhere, if it just dies within your own head or in your ideas, they just die. So for me, it doesn't matter that I don't get a penny from this. What matters to me is that the system gets exposed in one way or another. I think rideshare is a great tool. I mean, I can't imagine a world without Uber and Lyft. I just can't. I can't imagine going out with friends or whatever, and then, you know, maybe having a couple too many drinks that night or whatever, and not being able to just getting on my app and ordering a ride and then getting home safe, 10, 1,500, whatever the amount is at the time that you get taken to your house or wherever you're going. I remember the days of taxis where you would make a phone call and wait for hours if the taxi would even show up. So the system, I think, is something that is grabbing hold of society. So I would hate to see it go, but I hate the way that, you know, these companies just take advantage of the situation, because like Brian was saying earlier, it's still like the early days. It's still the wild, wild west. And so we have to collectively do whatever it takes to change the status quo, you know, just to level the playing field. This is not about, you know, bringing down Uber, I would hate to see Lyft go, because, you know, Uber by itself would be a monster I don't even want to imagine. And so I feel great that this was exposed. I feel great that I met Sergio. And I think that I think this is just the beginning. There's more to expose, and whatever I can contribute to that, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, you
Awesome.
know, I second that. Plus, listen, man, you know, without you nudging me on this wouldn't have happened, right? Credit is due where credit is due. You know, we can do certain things at the RideShare Guy, okay? A lot of work goes in the background, and, you know, we get a lot of hate, we get a lot of love. Not a lot of hate, actually. We get more love than hate. And a lot of people go, oh, so, you know, so he said this, you did this, whatever. Okay. So I've been with the RideShare Guy for 5 years. I've been writing for them and doing this Show Me the Money Club live stream for a year and a couple of months now. This is my biggest accomplishment as far as I'm concerned, right? And then, look, man, you know, I know people, whoever knows me personally knows me well enough that I'm like a little pit bull. Once I latch on, I'm not going to let go. You're not going to shake me off too easily. And what has happened, though, during all this process is that, you know, this shows one thing and one thing only. Information and education is key for anybody's success, let alone just rideshare, gig work, delivery, whatever the heck you're doing. Inform yourself. Read. This is not a bad thing, man. If we didn't read the law, we wouldn't be here. I mean, seriously. If you just said that to me and I go, whatever. I'm like, no, I sit, I show interest. Maybe that's my personality. I don't know. But we do a lot of good. And I think this put us onto a much higher level now, as far as the channel is concerned, as far as the community is concerned, because we're constantly working in the background. You know, I get all these emails, Sergio, what do I do with this? What do I do with that? I don't want to play Uber support, but believe me, I read everything. I forward everything where it needs to go. And these things will not happen without having credibility, okay? And I think as a channel, Chris, me, the show, you know, RideShare Guy, we have enough credibility that when we get out there, people listen. Like, Brian didn't have to do this, right? He's a freaking, you know, LA Times award-winning journalist. He didn't have to do any of this. But what happened during this process is that you make friends, you know, you don't burn your bridges, you talk to them constantly, you feed them information, and once in a while you run into a big story. You know, it's not a feather on my cap. This is like the best thing I've done for drivers that I could do. And, you know, I'm going to keep working on it until I retire. But it goes to show that education is key. You guys need to pay attention to what you're doing in your own life. Don't expect something to happen for you. You know, yes, we will try, we will do our best to help drivers as drivers advocates, but you have to educate yourself. Ultimately, you're on your own. And look out for these things. Keep your mileage logs, keep your cost calculators, do all this stuff. Treat this like a business and show interest in what you're doing. Don't do it willy-nilly. Just, you know, like most people got a lot of money, I'm sure, and they didn't know where it came from, but they were happy the next day. And I'm like, okay, great, cool. And that's the last thing I want to say is I want these companies actually now to come up with the dollars that they put out. I'm pretty sure they're not. I'm sure Doordash is not going to say, maybe they'll say it during the earnings calls, like, okay, we have to put out 70 million. But again, it wasn't out of their pocket. They collected from the consumer. They held on to it for a year and a half, and then they paid the drivers a year and a half late. Like, where's the transparency? That's all we want. Just show us some love. Show us some transparency. Give me my numbers. Why did you send me $500, Saturday morning out of the blue? Was it because I drove, I don't know, an extra 17,000 miles for you in 22 and 2023? I don't know. Show some transparency, man. This is the simple stuff. So, I want to thank Pablo, obviously, much appreciated, man. Obviously, we're going to keep working on it. And Chris, obviously, that I do this thing every week. I think, buddy, we're at the next level now. I think we moved the notch up.
One thought that just came to my mind right now was, I've read the law, and obviously since then I've read it multiple times, and I've dug through it. Nowhere in the law does it say that a certain amount of money is going to be paid on every single ride to cover these things for the Prop 22.
And it also doesn't say
there is no verbiage like that in the law. So why did all the companies jump on that California benefits thing? If that doesn't sound like, like corporate collusion on the background, which is supposed to be illegal, where is the FTC on this? They're all of them automatically said, hey, California benefits. And they all have that stipulation on the receipts, yet it doesn't appear anywhere in Prop 22. So
the other thing, Pablo, is that nowhere in the law, as you read it and I read it, says that we have to put an accounting of this. Nowhere in that law says that. Nowhere that there should be an audit every year. Because we're talking hundreds of billion, literally a few $1 billion now since 2020. If they took in 75 cents to $1.50 on each single delivery and trip, and we know what happened to deliveries. Deliveries went nuts because of pandemic, right? When 2020 came, March 2020, everything's shutting down. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart, Grubhub blew up. Every single one of those trips, every single one of those transactions had a, consumer paid for, right? I'm going like, nowhere in the law it says that, oh, by the way,
if you pass this law,
Price Waterhouse is keeping track of all this funds. I'm like, I don't know where the money is. I think everybody deserves an accounting, and I think that's what we're going to work on next and try to get it.
Hey, they were really good at writing that extra, a couple sentences on the bottom of that paragraph saying the responsibility is on the treasurer for math is math. The number comes from the CPIU and the statistics of the government, right? So that's published by the federal government every single month. Math is math. 7.11% is, no matter how you dice it, it gives you the same number. There was nothing special that Fiona Ma did to reach 32 cents and 34 cents. I wish she was, had some math problems because based on which number she used from what month, I did it both ways. It always ends up at 34 cents. So math is math. Yeah. So they didn't have to write that stipulation. They could have just automatically used the CPIU number, and immediately January 2022, there was no need for this treasurer stipulation on the law. Why didn't they put something about the comptroller to go and audit the books on where the benefits are going? I mean, they're so eager to put the treasurer on the law. Hey, why don't you use the rest of the government, to audit the law or whatever? It can be facetious, but come on.
I mean, we're going to work on it.
We're just a third party to collect all of it and distribute.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to work on it. It's constant work, and then we do a lot of work. Look, without you guys' support, we wouldn't be here, right? The community, and one time David won, but then David's not done. Chip. We're gonna keep chipping, and let's see. Maybe there's victory number 2 for David coming up.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll see. Pablo, thank you for coming on. If you want to stick around for the rest of the show, we are going to transition into our other topics. But again, just want to say appreciate it. The name of the show is Show Me the Money Club. And Sergio, Pablo, you definitely found the way to put a lot of money into some drivers' pockets, probably who definitely need it as well, too. Because unfortunately, sometimes when some delivery drivers are out there driving for peanuts, it's definitely going to go probably a good way if they're coming up on some bills or anything like that. So awesome work, you guys, especially looking in the fine details of everything.
Well, thank you for letting me share this space with you today, and I'll let you guys do your thing. But I thank you again, Sergio, Chris, for having me on and explaining the story, and I look forward to doing more things like this going forward as I
On the
start
RideShare Guy.
collaborating with the RideShare.
Yep.
So
yes, Pablo will be coming on more for our Spanish-speaking community because we speak English and Spanish is a different language, so some people may not have the bilingualness in them. So it's going to be great to have Pablo come on and do some of these Spanish videos. So it's going to help our Spanish community out there as well, because they are also part of the whole community when it comes to drivers, delivery drivers, last mile drivers. So we'll be looking forward to that, Pablo.
coming soon. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
All right, have a good one. All right. Awesome work, Sergio. Good job.
Thanks, man. We did
Now,
good.
One last question.
Send me the emails, by the way, people. Let me say, I got already like few hundred, but we're talking 1.4 million. I'm not expecting to get 1.4 million emails. I am 100% certain of this now. From the amounts that I have seen, there was as little as 62 cents and as high as $1,800. Okay, so and everybody else is in between. I am 100% certain if you have done even one single delivery, which Pedro, our other contributor, I did his live stream on Sunday. He had done one single delivery in LA when he was in LA for Curbivore, and I made him open his app, and he got 20 cents for this adjustment. So this could range from pennies, especially if you have done deliveries for all these companies. Okay, RideShare, not so much, unless you were a super ant. If you've done delivery, send me an email. Say, Sergio, I got this much. Sergio, I got that much. I got a whole bunch of them anyway, but Sergio at the RideShareGuy.com, and please go read the article that came out today. You guys will see all the chronological screenshots, all the proof, everything, all the evidence is in there. And we keep fighting. Let's go.
Now, do you sleep with one eye open right now? Kind of.
Right. Well, actually, that's funny you say that. My wife was like, why are you doing this? I go, what do you mean? Why am I doing this? You just got $200. You buy me sushi. and then she goes, but you're pissing off these companies quite a bit now. I go, I'm not pissing off anybody. I'm just getting what's right. That's all. I mean, you can be pissed off, but security detail coming up. I go hire there.
Oh no, you got to watch out because this security detail might be mercenaries now.
Whatever, bro. Like if I'm going to worry about that, I wouldn't do any of this. I would just go on a beach having margaritas. But no, man, we did good. We did really good.
Yeah. Well, either way, let's switch it up. Again, thanks for everything on that, and I'm sure a lot of drivers are very grateful. But let's move on with the good stuff. So we are doing our Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award. Our winner for the last month, which was May, is Janice from North Carolina. So Janice, I'm not sure if you're watching. I didn't see you in chat. Maybe you did. But either way, Janice from North Carolina, congratulations. You are May's winner. I believe, Sergio, if you haven't already, did you schedule the interview with her? Perfect. Great story right there, by the way.
And we're going to do the article as usual. She paid it forward. Janice, congrats, thumbs up. As soon as I do your interview, your $100 is on its way. And an RSG hat.
Yeah, absolutely. Sergio, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that.
Sergio, thank you, Sergio.
Oro, we had mentioned, or we'd posted on there, but thank you as well for the super chat if you're still in.
Yes, Caro, thank you. Hope you got some money from DoorDash, bro. Or Uber Eats.
And as always, we do want your safety in mind. If you want to make sure you can spend that extra money from Prop 22 if you got it. So you want to make sure your peace of mind is safe with a camera. We always recommend the DisplayRide dash camera, and they've done a great deal where SMTMC viewers will be able to get 20% off. So instead of $25 a month, it's $20 a month with code RSG20. Link is going to be in the description below. So if you don't have a dash camera, make sure you get one today. Definitely go for that with the dash camera from DisplayRide. And if you want more information, we are going to be having a full breakdown video of it very soon with Joe. He just got a unit shipped to him, so he's going to be doing that video very soon. Whether that's this week or in the next couple of weeks, I'm not sure. But if you have more questions on how it works or anything like that, let us know. And here's a fun little story when it comes to dash camera. Joe.
Yeah.
Dark Road Run.
Joe, bro. We gotta have him on,
Dark
too.
Road Run Joe. Not our contributor, RideShare Guy.
Oh, okay,
Joe.
okay.
Yeah, we had him on. We had him
Joe.
on a couple of weeks ago. He was doing a live earlier today that I went and hopped in, and he was out driving earlier this morning, and he was on the streets of San Francisco on a highway and coming up at an interchange, and somebody in the far left decided that they were going to wait last minute, and they waited a little bit too long, and he got it right on dash cam footage. Basically, the car ran right into the guardrail, flopped over, and if he didn't swerve out of the way, luckily nobody was to his right, but if he didn't swerve out of the way, he would have hit them, and he had passengers in the car. So that just goes to show you want to make sure you have everything covered, because not only if there's problems inside the car, but something outside the car, like an accident, that's definitely going to be helpful when it comes to what happened, piecing it all together, and sharing exactly. So that is another thing right there. I'm doing the I don't live in Detroit, William.
Exactly. But the dash cam is a must. I mean, seriously, if you're doing deliveries, park your car in driveways, whatever you do, point the dash cam towards your house, because you're leaving your protected zone, which is your car. You're going to walk into somebody's door. I mean, it's a must. I mean, $20, man. $20 it's a joke. I mean, how much is a Taylor Swift concert? I looked at it. My daughter wanted it. I go like, let me look. First of all, they're all sold out, obviously. So I go to StubHub. Chris, at the SoFi Stadium, which last Super Bowl's well held 2 years ago, nosebleed section, $1,750 a ticket, bro.
Jesus.
I am definitely not paying $1,750 a ticket for Taylor Swift.
What's absolutely crazy though is that's not just SoFi. That's like all over the freaking place too. Like I keep hearing all these things about I don't know why Taylor Swift concerts are like so crazy or so expensive or what, but holy crap.
Yeah,
Uber, appreciate that. Thank you.
Uber,
Who's the more efficient driver? Driver A, 150 rides, 50 online hours, $1,900, 500 miles driven, 2023 Kia hybrid. Driver B, airport runs, 70 rides, 115 online hours, $1,800, 3,000 miles driven, 2023 Honda Accord.
I mean, is there a question here?
Yeah.
I
don't know. I mean, I think it's very obvious.
Are you? I think he's being facetious or what? You have a bet with this gentleman in the Honda, because you won if you're in the Kia.
Yeah, whoever's got the Kia, you're the winner.
You're the winner, bud. Yeah, you did good. Yeah, I was like, I hope you have a bet with the Honda. I was like, yeah, it's not even like it's
not even a contest. That's like a Taylor Swift behind the scenes or backstage ticket versus a nosebleed ticket. You're not even in the same atmosphere.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. I think we found out where the money for Uber came from. And I think that's I think that they're cost cutting because they had to dole out so much money when it came to this whole Prop 22 debacle, because they didn't pay for 18 months. So what you see right now is Uber is leasing out the entire office building in San Francisco. Whew.
Yeah, we talked about this like a month ago. Like, why do they need 33,000 people? Why do they need all these buildings? Why do they need all this stuff, right? Well, whoever is in San Francisco, I feel bad, because I think the city is falling apart seriously with all the homelessness and whatever else is going on. Not that it's homelessness' fault, but that they're allowing certain things to go on that shouldn't be. But anyway, I hear that the commercial real estate in San Francisco is like trash at the moment. And now Uber comes to the market saying that, well, I don't think we need all this room. So, please take it away from us. So we'll see. And you guys sometimes say we're going to do this segment like in a couple of segments. oh, Uber takes 50%. Well, this is where the money is going right here.
Yeah.
This is
I mean,
it.
this
They
is
have
one of the most
expenses.
expensive. I'm pretty sure this is one of the most expensive buildings in San Francisco, and they need to pay for it somehow. How are they going to pay for it?
I know. I'm like, like people think like Uber runs on air. No, man, they have expenses. Like, there's one right there. God knows how many of these they have around the nation, around the globe. You know what I mean? I'm like, there you go.
Oh yeah,
Rent
yeah.
ain't cheap
So
for
I mean,
300,000 feet.
well, it's funny you mentioned that topic though about
Losing
pay
money.
and Uber taking 50% or 70% or
Here comes the hate mail.
35% or yeah, here comes the hate mail. One of the things that Uber did recently
hate mail.
is they've become a little more transparent on their take, and I think that they're doing that because they want to try to correct the flack a little bit because they're getting so much. Because again, when a driver looks at the breakdown, they look at what the customer paid and they look at what they made. Those are the two figures and the two figures only that they look at. If anybody else tells me different, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to me.
Wrong.
But I know with the truth. You're looking at what the customer paid, what the driver made. I get it. I would be doing the exact same thing. So Uber, in their infinite wisdom, wanted to say, hey, how can we make it so we're not taking what looks to be 50% of the fare? The customer paid $100, the driver got $50. It looks like we made $50. How do we make that? So what they did was they decided to decouple the amount that was owed to the insurance companies, the commercial insurance. So that's what you see on there, and that makes up a big chunk. Whether you agree with that number, whether you think they could be pulling a little extra into that to make it look like that's we don't know. We can't confirm nor deny that. We can speculate. We could think. We could do whatever we want. I think they're getting ripped off if that's the amount of fare that they have to put towards commercial insurance. That they need better insurance agencies or something. That's all I'll say about that. But when it comes down to it, the other aspect of what they're doing too is now they're starting to show right here the service fee and how much they've taken or how much they've lost.
Should I do an article? I was going to do an article on this, but I know, I did one time, like about 6 months ago, I did like, is Uber's take really 50%? Boy, the amount of hate mail I got on that one was a lot. So now I'm going like, last week I got all these, right? These are 3 different drivers, right? So for sake of transparency, right? Lyft is showing this now. They're not hiding it for 10 days for the PDF to show up anymore. And Uber is showing this live now, trip after trip after trip for the last 30 days. Look at the screenshot on the left, Chris. It says Uber's total service fee for your rides trips for May 1 to May 29 was negative $1,542.89. This negative amount means that you earn more through fares and promotions than the total customer price during the period, excluding tips, government, and other third-party fees, which is airport fees and things, city taxes. And
I think that might have been just their Prop 22 repayment.
No, man, I've seen so many of these now.
Yeah.
So here, we need to do a segment about how to make Uber lose money.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
we can definitely do that.
These 3 separate drivers. Okay, the guy in the middle sent it to me. On this one, May 1 to May 29, the loss was $1,503.04. The other guy, $1,542.89. And on this one,
2 drivers, they lost $3,000 on.
Yeah, with the arrow pointing on this one, April 17th to May 15th was negative $55. So as your chump change, but still negative. So I assure you, Chris, I am like as sure as my name. None of these drivers are ants. None. They all cherry pick the shit out of it. They go in for that high surge, sticky surge. They grab it, and Algo didn't charge the high surge to the packs, and boom, Uber loses $30 on that trip. Okay, none of these drivers. So how do you make Uber lose money? Cherry pick. If you're gonna take everything, Uber's gonna make a ton of money on you.
Well, here's the thing: not only are cherry pick, but this is also where the 3 Ps come in: planning, positioning, and patience. That is, the other side of the coin if you want to do that, because, you got to plan when the time is right. Plan when surge is going to probably be happening. You got to plan when the bonuses are happening, whether it's a streak bonus, whether it's a ride bonus, a quest goal, whatever it might be. You have to plan out for that, and then you actually go out, and that's when you have the action of doing that. The patience to take the correct ride, not just take every ride that's coming in, and then the position to make sure that you're in the proper zones that you need to be in order to take advantage of the surge, take advantage of these bonuses, these promos. And then that way, at the end of the day, you're making Uber lose money instead of gain money.
Yeah, I agree. And look, please, okay, you all know my email. Look, I don't want any hate mail. I am telling you, as much as you guys say, Uber takes 60-70% of the fare. Like Chris said, as convoluted as their numbers are, to bring down the service fee on the bottom line, they throw in all the stuff in there. And I'm 100% sure now, because I'm working on this too, that commercial insurance that they put up there for like a 18-minute 7-mile trip that is like $7. I'm like,
yeah,
what insurance company are you guys working with, man? That's a lot of money for a 17-minute trip. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure marketplace fee is in there, which they collect from the customer and they slide it in there. They're not breaking that down anymore. You don't see marketplace fee anymore. Marketplace fee is something from $0 to $10 that Uber charges the passenger directly. They collect from the passenger and you're not entitled to it. So you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they're squeezing the marketplace fee in the commercial, because not a goddamn chance, bro, that a 20-minute trip commercial insurance, premium on that is $7. I mean, what's going on? I can buy commercial insurance for myself for like, I don't know, $800 a month. This is like ridiculous. So I'm going like, I don't know, some shenanigans are happening there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something going on. So I mean, whatever you guys think, put in the comments. Let us know, because we'd love to hear exactly.
Okay, well, look at your numbers. Is Uber losing money on you? There you go.
Uber loses money on me.
They're not losing money on you. You're not cherry picking enough. There you go.
No, they lose money on me for sure. Because again, I go and drive when I'm getting shown those bonuses. That's, again, my rule has always been not always been, but lately has always been, show me the money and I'll drive. My time is always going to the highest bidding, to the highest bid. And I don't go to anything lower bid or anything like that. It's always to the highest bid. And whoever's showing the money is pretty much who's going to be getting my time.
Lyft showed me the money last week. We're going to put up the numbers next week. Showed me in 2 guarantees. I did 35 trips for Lyft. While I was on the Lyft, I was also doing Uber Eats. So I sent the numbers to Chris. We're going to show it to you next week. I'm waiting for the PDF to show up to see how much Lyft lost. That's why I'm waiting for that. So it was like 8.5 hours active time for like $670. That's like, I don't even know. Is that $80 an hour? Some ridiculous shit. So it was a good time. I did it. And yeah, man, make Uber lose money. Cherry pick. Otherwise, not going to happen. Jeff, are you here, Jeff? I bet you your numbers don't look like that, Jeff. I bet you Uber made $1,400 on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably like, it's okay. It don't matter.
Well, he doesn't. He's doing what he's doing. Everybody's doing what they're doing. So.
Yep. All right. Well, it is that time of the show where we want to give away some money. So enter #money in order to win $25. We're going to do the drawing in just a few minutes. Again, this is for the live chat only. So if you're watching the replay, if you are watching, somewhere else or listening on the podcast side, sorry, it's only during the live show itself. You have to be part of the live, which is Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And we are going to be doing that. So make sure you get #money in there. We're going to be doing that in just a few minutes. We're going to go through a topic first. And this is a topic that should be welcoming to drivers, or hopefully welcoming to drivers. And that is that Uber is changing its rating screen. If you saw my video the other day on Saturday, I kind of broke it down a little bit when it came down to some of the changes that they're going to be doing. This is something that Lyft has been doing for a while. And this is something that Uber has kind of been toying with for, on and off for years, pretty much since I started driving. I remember them talking about it and then nothing happened. And, now it looks like it is actually starting to take effect. And that is these ratings. So basically, on your last 500 ratings, which it's always been, they're going to exclude certain ratings from the average, which is going to be riders who frequently give low ratings. So if you want to be that perfect 5-star driver, I don't know why, but if for some reason you have that type 2 personality and you need to be, then you really need to make sure that you're taking advantage of this, because you might get that 1-star rating of that person who drives all the time in a car and they always rate low. So that is one thing. And then apparently things that are outside your control, such as traffic and other, related things, are not going to affect your rating. How they're going to find that information if the rider just puts in the rating and then calls it a day, who knows exactly what's going to happen there.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to put this out. I know you all say you're negative, blah, 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 blah. I know for a fact I'm at 496. I have been at 496 for the last 700 trips. I thought that was supposed to fall out. I mean, my numbers are almost exactly like this. Mine is 323. I have 3 4 stars, 2 3 stars, and 3 1 stars. It's been the same, Chris, for the last like 700 trips, bro. Isn't it supposed to fall off? I'm not
supposed
sure.
to.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly,
actually,
okay.
I think it's bullshit.
Right.
I think it's stuck.
My rating actually. So during my Uber career,
498. There you go.
During my Uber career, it was 496 for a long time. Then I got to the point where it was like burned out, and I was just like not happy. I didn't want to drive any of that. I'm sure everybody who's been driving for a while will experience that. It just wasn't fun. It just wasn't. It felt more of a chore versus anything else. And at that point, that's when I noticed my driver ratings starting to go down. And I look at it, I'm like, huh. And I was doing some introspective work as well too. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not fun for me anymore. So that's when I took a little bit of time off. I took a couple of weeks off from driving, and I kind of just like enjoyed it and thought about why I started driving in the first place, to kind of like see what was going on. And that kind of restarted that fire of, playing the game. And I'm sure you've had that, Sergio, and I'm sure people in here have that. That's why they pretty much go out and drive some of the times, is because of that game. And so that's when I started seeing the rating pick up. So it was 4.96, pretty much same as yours. It went down to 4.87 or something like that. And then I got it back up to it's 4.95 now. And honestly, I beyond that, I don't really care. Like
I don't either, but I think it's stuck. Mine, I think it's stuck for sure. Yeah. I've been looking at every time I look at the rating screen, it's the same 323, bro. Like, the 323 is like 3 4 stars, 2 3 stars, 3 1 stars. It's been like that for like 700 plus trips. I'm like, aren't these like, it's a huge coincidence that my 1 star gets replaced with another 1 star. You know what I'm saying? So I go like 323. I'm not even looking at the rating or whatever. 323 has been there for like 2 years now. I'm like, bro, it's stuck. Something is wrong with it. I don't know.
Or the rating systems aren't really real, and everything you see is just an illusion that was built up by AI.
Yeah, I think so. I'm I honestly, I don't pay any attention to it. Like, if you're a shitty driver, you're gonna look, if you don't have a clean car, and if you're, I don't know, if you're rude and if you're kind of unsafe, look, you're gonna get dinged quite often. My car is always clean. People, whatever. I'm like, I don't care if I'm 486 or 496, because look, a lot of people, by the way, a lot of drivers think that the higher rating, they get you better customers. They match you with higher rating.
No, it doesn't.
I'm going like, in what world is that possible? Anyway,
I want to know, honestly, I want to know where that theory even came about, because it's not true in any way.
From Donnie in Biloxi. That's what it is.
Oh, come on, Donnie.
10 1 stars. Who's got that, bro? That's a lot.
Nice, Nick. Nice.
Hey, you're proud of the 10 1 stars?
Oh, Vegan Gem has it. It says right here, I have 10 1-star ratings for not allowing a ride bring open red solo cups into the car, for not allowing
Vegan Gem.
And you know what? Hey, if you want, if you don't care about the rating, Vegan Gem, no worries. But the other thing on the other side of that, if you want to kind of keep it somewhat, intact, those types of rides are probably the ones that are going to get canceled on, because they are going to be the ones that are going to rate you low because you didn't give them what they wanted. So they're going to be like, well, I'm going to rate you low because that's what they think that they can hold over you. But little do they know that it's out of 500 ratings. So, a 1 star out of 500 is not going to matter in when it's weighted out. 10 1 stars still aren't going to
look, their 1 star on you is not going to move the needle. Maybe 1/10, if that. But your 1 star on them, let's say, okay. So they do 2 trips so far, right? And they got both 5s. Your 1 star on them will dump them to like 420s, some ridiculous, like 420s, 410s. It'll be like, what the hell happened to my rating? And they will not get picked up.
You know what? Here's the thing. That's the funny aspect about driver and rider ratings. Riders don't use the platform nearly as much on average. There are some riders out there who have a lot of rides, and then their low rating or a low rating will not affect them anywhere near the amount that a rider may take a couple of rides here and there. And then on the flip side, the driver, it's out of 500 rides. So it doesn't matter a damn bit if you give me 1 star. I don't care. I'm the exact same way with Vegan Gem. I will not allow an open container in my car. I don't know what you're bringing in the car, especially if I'm picking you up from the bar. There's no effing way. It's not happening because, again, that's the liability is 100% on me. And I'm not willing to do that for you coming in my car, giving me, $450 for that ride.
Bro, we're both getting arrested. We're both getting arrested, bro, with an open container in the car. Screw that. So chuck it, drink it. I'll wait for you a couple of minutes, glug, 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 and then come on in. That's okay. Okay, Sunshine Main, put it up. What did he say? What the fuck? What did you say, Sunshine Man? Sergio, just last 4 weeks out of 40. Bullshit, Sunshine Man. You didn't make $4,710 in 4 weeks. You drive 2 days a week. How do you make that kind of money? Accepting 99% of your trips. I'm not buying that. I mean, I do trust you, but I think your math is sideways.
Well, if he's in Myrtle Beach, I mean, let's be real. The's a lot of people.
Does that include tips, Sunshine Man? No tips, bro. You get 500 a week in tips, so no tips. Do the numbers again. But if they made 281 on you versus the other one, they lost 1,500 on that driver. That means, you're not cherry picking enough. There you go.
All right. Well, let's move to the giveaway section portion. Hold on. I have 3 monitors and yet it's not even lining up properly. Hold on. But here we go.
Oh, I got to write this down. Hold on. Who's the winner?
All right. Let's see who's the winner. Sheldon. Congratulations. You are the winner. Hit up Sergio at the RideShareGuy.com and he will get you there.
I will get it as soon as I get your email. You were right under the gun there, Jabola Fit. Wait for the next one. There's going to be one more.
We got one more coming up, but we got a couple more topics we're going to go through first. So we talked about Uber changing the rating screen. Actually, no, that's not even the rating screen. Actually, no. You know what? Screw it. First off, I was looking at 2 different things, but going back to Jeff, he's our resident ant here, and Sergio, I got a question for you. Are you becoming an ant?
Yeah, I ant when I need to. I anted last week. Well, not really.
Yes,
but look at this, Jeff. Top this, Jeff.
This shows that.
Top that, Jeff. Right here. I'm so proud of this. Mr. Risher, are you watching this? Look at me. Look at your boy, Mr. Risher, right here. Look at this. I mean, this is perfection. I think I'll quit Lyft now. That's it. I'm done. I'm just going to go on the top of my game until the next moron walks in.
Here's the thing. If they're showing you the money, then I'll be an ant all day long.
They showed me the money, buddy. I'm telling you. I'm betting that they lost probably $250 on me last week. But what did they show you?
What did they show you? Let everybody know what your bonus was there.
My bonus was 12 chips for Monday to Thursday. It was 12 chips for $185. So that comes to like $16 a chip. And for the weekend, I had a guarantee 23 trips for $350. That's another 60 trip. So I did 35, $3.50 to $4 $3.50 to $4 trips. And I did actually all 23 in one day on Friday while I was also doing Uber Eats. So it was like a $500 day on Friday, Chris, while I was doing Lyft trips. I did what David Risher doesn't want me to do. I never had food and passenger in the car at the same time, Mr. Risher, so you know. And my car always smelled good. I did the delivery, then I picked up the Lyft passenger, so you know. But here I am, Jeff. Can you meet this, Jeff? Beat this, Jeff. Hey, Donnie, AppRide, can you beat this, bro? Right here. Look at this. Huh?
Hey.
Beat that.
Well, either way, good job. Congratulations, Lyft Ant. You're the honorary Lyft Ant of the week this week.
That's
but
right.
you know, here's the flip side. On the other side of the coin, you know, Uber's fighting for you too, but they're fighting for you on Uber Crew.
Guess what, people? With Brandon Black, my interview for Uber Crew is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Wish me luck. I hope I make it because I made it through the first cut. I had to upload a video. I had to answer questions, so I made it through the first cut. Okay? So this is the email I got, and then I immediately did my Zoom call appointment with Brandon Black. We'll see you, Brandon, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Can we
I'm going to be very nice, very cordial until I make it to the Uber Crew. Then I'm going to fucking blow that place up.
Shh, don't say that. Don't worry.
It's
Uber
good,
Crew
it's
is done
good,
by a third party, so it's not even done by
content, it'll be such great content. Oh my God. You know, all those 500
we'll have to compare notes
over there.
well, you know what? We're going to compare notes because I did Lyft Driver Advisory Council back in 2019.
You did it.
So I've already done this. I know what it's like. I'm gonna wait so we can compare notes between Lyft and Uber.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, keep your fingers crossed. Let me make this. Okay. Let me make this. Make Uber Crew, straighten that shit up over there with 500 Kool-Aid drinkers over there. I don't care if I last
here's the
a week,
deal.
bro. Huh?
Here's the deal. When you're on Uber Crew, because you're selected as an Uber Crew member, I am going to live stream the town hall from Uber Crew that you're leading.
Yes. Great. Oh my God. That's a great idea. So I will even put, I don't think they wear Uber jackets and shit, do they? The hats and stuff? No. I don't know. So tomorrow morning is my appointment, and I hope I make the Uber Crew. Okay. So I can go in there and say, you fools. No, I'm going to be very, very polite. I'm going to help a bunch more drivers, just like I did with getting him the money. And I'm going to go actually volunteer to work for Uber Crew. And I'm going to make sure, though, I speak my mind, obviously. So I'm becoming an insider now, Chris.
Sort of.
That's as close as Uber I'm going to get.
Sort of. Has anybody in chat, have you been part of the DAC or, you know, the crew, the Uber Crew? I don't think there's anybody.
I don't think so. They wouldn't lower themselves to that level. They wouldn't.
Well, either way, I'm just curious, but yeah, we're going to compare notes because it'll be interesting to see. And I already know. I mean, I already know what it is and what it's about and what you can and absolutely cannot do. So it'll be fun to see.
I got to make it first. Let me make it first, and then I'm going to celebrate, and then I'm going to go to work.
Nice.
All right.
Well, keep us posted. Let us know how it goes tomorrow. We want to know. So we'll have to know next week what ends up happening if they've let you know by then. But either way, we're going to give away another round of $25. So this is hashtag SMTMC. Make sure you put it in the chat. I apologize. I did keep the banner on longer. So hopefully you can get it on this point now.
And Tracy and Valerie and all these people. Okay, all the people who
instead of hashtag money, it's hashtag SMTMC. Again, this is for the live chat. Put that in the chat, and it will be your entry in. You can try to put in as many as you want. It's just not going to happen. You're only going to be counted
once. Put one.
But yes, hashtag SMTMC, all lowercase, in the live for the live chat. And
All right.
then, hold on, I thought I saw somebody say something about the DAC.
DAC. Are they doing DAC still? I don't think they are, right? Are they?
I don't think so.
I don't think they are doing DAC.
Um,
I applied for that too, by the way. But that was like 2 years ago, and I never got selected. This is
Yeah.
as close as I come to Uber. This is as close as I can be. I'm excited, Brandon Black. I'm just gonna butter you up, kiss your ass, get me in there, buddy.
You know what? Just go in. I'll give you an insider tip. Have
Okay.
high energy going into it.
High energy.
Be excited. Yeah. Like,
You
you know how you see
I'm
like
so
game
excited to
show
help drivers.
contestants?
I'm
You know,
yes.
like you see,
You're on the Price
you
is
know
Right.
why? Yes, you know why they get selected? Because pre-screening, they're the ones who have the high energy and all that. I wouldn't
Okay.
go like, the Price is Right that
Oh,
far,
not
but
that
I would
kind
be
of
like,
energy. Okay.
definitely
Okay.
have like that positive energy. Like
Okay.
you fake it until you make it kind of thing.
Yep.
Because that's what I did for the video for
I'm
Lyft.
not
And
wearing
that's what
this
I did
shit.
on
That's for
the.
sure. I'm not wearing
Yeah.
this tomorrow. That's a guarantee.
You
The guy goes,
gotta
"What,
wear
what?"
the little Happy Ant shirt that you got.
Yes, I have one of those. Yep. Okay, all right. Good advice.
All
Good
right, so
advice.
let's move on. We got a couple of screenshots that we got to break down. Again, you can do hashtag SMTBC. We will get to
Hashtag
that in just a
SMTBC.
minute in the drawing. So, these are a couple of screenshots that I came across over the last week. So the first one that you see is the switcheroo. You know, the switcheroo is going away, and I'm appreciative of that. Where they're
love
testing out this whole thing. But one thing that I've been noticing is that you're not necessarily getting the upfront information that you should be when it comes to it. So what you can see right here is this is somebody who is on the way to pick somebody up, but they're getting the switcheroo
Oh,
question. Do you want to take this particular ride? Would you like to switch? Yes or no? But it's not giving you that information. All it's
It gave
giving
it to
you
me,
is the
bro.
distance and time. And then it's just saying it's a higher rated passenger.
Yeah. No, it gave it to me. I got it like 5-6 times when I was doing those 35 tips on all of them. It says, do you want to switch to this? It's like $3 more. You don't even have to do the math. It says this is $3 more or $8 less. And the rating of the business. He gave it to me like 5 or 6 times, which was like great. I'm like, no, I'm staying with my shorty. Thank you.
Well, the other side though is that's information that you need to know in order to make the informed decision.
I agree.
I want to know what that ride is going to be.
Exactly.
Is it going to take me somewhere where I don't want to go? Is it going to take me, short? What's it going to be? I need to know this. So
I agree.
this is something Lyft. You need to fix this right here. You need to make sure that that information is there on all of these ones that are popping up, because that's the whole point of upfront earnings. I can be like, oh, well, you're giving me a blank check, so I'm gonna write in the amount that I want. Hey, this was supposed to give me $2,400. Where's my $2,400?
Yeah, I don't know. Where is that from though? What city is that from? Do you know?
This one I don't remember. This was something I saw on a Facebook page.
Maybe they haven't released the full version of No Switcheroo yet. I'm telling you, I have no complaints with Lyft, Mr. Richard. Shit, awesome shit. I'm telling you. Look, still,
well, you know what? Hey, here's the thing.
Tips, okay, buddy, out of 35 chips, the icon, that little yellow man icon, was not accurate at least like 30% of the time, Mr. Richard. Okay, I go and I'm like, where is the guy? I don't even know. I mean, and then I see the icon moving, and I'm like, oh no. So you
I like how it like does circles. It doesn't know where to triangulate it. It's like all over the place, and then all of a sudden it's like, there it is.
I'm like, it's not funny, Mr. Richard. It's like we gotta get going. We gotta finish this 35. Time is money. Let's move. So yeah, that icon needs to get fixed. So so this next one is
I like this. I like this comment that Ryan just put. He's like, you baited me into signing up for Lyft with all of Lyft getting better. You know what? Honestly, it really is.
Nonsense.
But there's certain things we're still calling out if we notice that it needs to be called out. And this is something that needs to be called out. With upfront fares, I need to know the upfront price before I'm going to accept the switcheroo or not. So David Risher or Lyft, you need to figure that out. You need to put that info in there.
If you just signed on and you don't like it now, if you had signed on 4 months ago, then you would have understand what the heck we're saying, okay? Yeah, I think the Lyft app has improved immensely. I would say over 100% better. Okay,
Yep.
Good thing you signed on now and you still hate it. I know. I'm not. Look, nobody's saying, by the way, they're not as shady as Uber. Nobody's saying that. What I'm saying though is that the app is definitely better. Is it going to automatically make you more money? No, but with the information you have in there, I think it will make me more money. 35 guarantee index. Okay, why is it a scam? What kind of? See, you have no particulars here. You're just throwing up, shit to the wall. I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, it depends on the ride count. It depends on how many. I mean, you kind of gotta
What is
know
that?
the ins and outs. Which I mean, if
If it's
every
3,500 for
probably won't.
220 trips ish or so, knock it out. All shorties, you'll be done in a week. But
Yep. All right. Well, either way, Lyft, that needs to be fixed. Please fix that. If you guys are seeing anything like that on your switcheroos too, where it's not showing the information, try to send it to Sergio. We can see if we can highlight a little bit more of why that doesn't work. But either way, this needs to be fixed. Now, going into the center screenshot there, how many times have you seen this where you're going around, you see the surge?
I see quite often because I drive quite often in Santa Monica, LAX area. Yeah, I see that floating, floating surge in the middle of the ocean or the river, or in our case, the Pacific Ocean. I've seen quite a bit of those that I have to take Uber boat to go get the passenger.
Yeah. And you don't know what you're going to be getting beyond that, because there's no dollar amount near there besides, as you can see on that screenshot there.
Yeah, of course.
So it's definitely something that needs to be worked on as well too. I mean, one of your 33,000 encoders could probably code no-go zones. It's the same thing, the Buffalo. I mean, I'm right near Lake Erie, so I see that quite a bit. But then, bigger parks and areas that don't have the ability to drive, and yet you're seeing that there. And then the best is on the runway at Buffalo Niagara. You see the surge price on the airport runway. It's like, oh, sure, yeah, let me go out there. I'll race down when a plane's coming through. Like, come on.
I mean, look, come on, man, give these guys a break. Look, the 2.1 billion trips should go sideways, but again, I think these are things that we laugh at, but there are problems. I mean, especially with this, I'm hearing, Chris, that the surge virus, the mystery surge virus, is still spreading. Okay, now it's in DC and Atlanta. So, Uber.
Fix your shit.
Fix your shit, Uber. There you go. It's not a glitch. No, I 100% know it's not a glitch anymore. I think they're just testing it in waves.
Clean your house.
It's definitely not a glitch. So.
No, I mean, like I said, they had that screenshot that popped up underneath that said the thing about the surge, and I'm like, if they put that in there, that's not a glitch. That's bullshit. That's exactly what it is.
By the way, I know.
Park your car and swim.
I know we have like a couple of minutes to give the money away, so put the SMTMC hashtag SMTMC people. I am hearing now. Whoever's gonna look, just wait until you upgrade your car to do Lyft Lux Black, and things like that. Okay, just like Uber did with Select, they kind of phased it out and dropped it into the bottom of the passenger app, and they got rid of it and replaced it with kind of Comfort. Okay. I'm hearing, Chris, that Lyft Lux is not on the passenger app on many cities. So don't go upgrade your car to be able to do Lyft Lux. I know it disappeared in Florida. I know it disappeared in a couple of different cities in Florida and other cities. I've gotten maybe like 6 or 7 emails last 2 days saying, where's Lyft Lux? I have a Lyft Lux car. I haven't gotten any pings. And then he says, I went to the Lyft passenger app. It doesn't even show. So just like they got rid of shared rides, they may be getting Lyft Lux trips. So you guys know they may be. So don't go rushing upgrading your car to be able to do Lyft Lux, because that will cost you a whole bunch of money. That would be a mistake. I'm just giving the warning now. I don't know yet. Maybe next week we'll talk more in detail, but I've been getting these emails and I just wanted to bring that up. So.
We never had Black or Lux in our area, so it never really mattered.
Nick Hummer says Lux is gone. There you go. See? Okay. Huh. Yeah. Uber shared his bag.
That's some. And then obviously the last screenshot right there, you're pretty much driving under the 775, but yet you're only getting 450. We've talked about that surge bait bullshit before
all day long.
And again, another just another screenshot showing this is still happening. So it's an unfortunate thing. And then, there's a couple of comments here. This was we wanted to highlight 5 reasons why riders get 1-star ratings. This was a short that went out recently. So Kelly wrote, as a driver, everyone starts off with 5 stars. Not bad there. It's up to the rider if they lose stars, and I agree with that. If you eat in my car, you need to ask me first if it's okay. It must be in a container bag. I keep paper towels and wipes for the ride and myself, but make sure you take any trash with you. Leaving trash gets a rider 1 star. You cannot smoke anything in my car. If you vape without asking, young people think it's not smoking, but it is. Plus, she is asthmatic. No open lid drinks, period. We'll cancel a trip for that. And that's what we talked about before. You could cancel the trip if you want, or wait it out, but just know you're probably going to get rated low and probably not a tip. I always greet every rider with a hello, good morning first. Be considerate and say it back. No greetings will lose a star. And then I have never yet picked up anyone from the beach. I always seem to drop off. If you leave me waiting for more than 5 minutes and don't even offer an apology for keeping me waiting, just say, sorry, I kept you waiting. That's all. But to not say anything at all, you lose a star. It's rude and disrespectful to waste the driver's time. Add a stop on your ride during the ride without at least asking if it's okay. Rude and 1 star. So that was kind of like a rebuttal to what you had said with the 5 reasons why.
Yeah, I agree with her. I mean, I think those were my 5 reasons from the short.
Yeah, so it was like her rebuttal and of it from that. So,
I like this one. I hadn't read this one. Look at this one.
Yeah, so this is this is a short that just went out a couple of days ago as well too. This was a comment where it was talking about the Uber surge match glitch, and they said this one person said, it's not a glitch. I do Uber Eats and have been raw dogging the map for months. My map shows nothing, no orders, no surges, no active areas, nothing but a Google map with less detail. I've talked to other drivers and showed them the map. Only experienced full-time drivers in my area are having the problem. Interesting. Part-time and newbies have it. I talked to UCS and they tell me they're working on it too. That's Uber customer support, just so you know, and they tell me they're working on it. And I bet this is another way to kneecap top earners or cherry pickers to even out the pickup and keep the competition high. So if you've noticed something like this, please hit up Sergio at the RideShareGuy.com. If you got any screenshots showing you the maps, anything like that, or even, trying to do comparison shots between you and another driver that may be nearby that could have a completely different map, please send that to Sergio so we can follow up on this as well.
I agree. I mean, what I noticed though when I was doing my Lyft shorties, Chris, my app was on maybe total the whole week. Online hours was maybe like 17, 18 hours. And the whole time my Uber Eats app was on as well. And I'm just staying in the neighborhood where a lot of restaurants are, right? Drop off, half-mile pickup, 2-mile drop off, 1-mile pickup, 2-mile drop off. And I was always around restaurants. I noticed my Uber Eats pings were considerably less. So maybe things are slowing down. Summer is around. Everybody's eating out, whatever. But yeah, I noticed that a lot, much less pings on Uber Eats. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's been quieter here too, at least on the rideshare front. Like I said, I'm not really doing anything like that. So now this is the last comment, and this was something that I completely agree with too. It says, quote unquote, rideshare is a luxury. If people can't afford it because they raise the rates to fairly compensate for the drivers, for example, there's always public transportation.
This is from Minnesota, right? The Minnesota thing, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, this was a comment talking about when we were talking about the taxi rates. Somebody had mentioned in a comment during the live show last week or 2 weeks ago about the taxi rates, and we were talking about that. And that's the whole thing. This is exactly what rideshare was kind of for. I mean, Lyft was more for like long rides. So if you had to go long distance, that's really what it was for. Uber was more also the same kind of thing. It was something that was supposed to be seamless. It was supposed to be a nice car, not a cab. And it was supposed to be, within 5 minutes or not that far away when you ordered a ride. That was their whole push. It's the same thing. Once it started opening up besides like a black car service, and it opened up to more and more drivers all over and more markets, it was something, again, that was, a more of a luxury when looked at it. You know,
But-
if you looked at
but-
public transportation costs versus Uber and Lyft costs, was still much higher than public transportation. So
Yeah.
this is something where, you know, I don't know if this is a switch within, you know, the people's minds, like riders, customers, and all that, where they're like, oh, I've grown accustomed to using the app, and you know, if they raise rates, I can't use the platform anymore. Well,
Yeah.
that's what public transportation is there for. If
Yeah,
you can't
tough
use
shit.
it, then you got to figure
I
it
mean,
out.
But you know, to reach that scale, that's what they do. All these apps, right? It doesn't have to be RideShare. All these apps, they give it to you for free at the start, and then 6 months later, they start charging you a little bit, and then 2 years later, if it's successful, they charge you more. Uber did the same thing with VC money. They basically just, you know, gave free rides for years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, until they reached massive scale. And then the day they went public, everything changed. You know, then they have a two-sided marketplace. They got to charge as much and pay as little as possible. You know, it was the passengers are still used to this, you know, subsidized fantasy land. They go 10 miles for $10. I'm like, in what world can a car go 10 miles for $10? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
right.
it's a fucking,
So, yeah.
man, you got it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like, I get it. You wanted to disrupt the taxi industry. You wanted to do this,
Yeah,
but
but
in the grand scheme of things, a cab is nowhere near as nice as a personal vehicle usually is. And the majority of drivers, I'm going to say, probably do keep their cars as clean as possible when they can. I mean, I probably am very meticulous when it comes to it. I know you are. So we're probably on, you know, maybe the top 1% of wanting our cars clean and, you know, kept up. I mean, I was driving a 2013 Jeep Grand Cherokee all the way up until pretty much I got rid of it. People were like, oh, this is a great car. Like, what year is this? I say 2013. They're like, oh, I thought it was much newer than that.
yeah.
And that's all just coming down to taking care of it. I want to clean for myself, my family, and then, you know, people getting in and out of the car. It just helps with tips. There's a lot of things. So, I mean, I don't understand, like, the whole pricing scheme. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, you want to belly up the taxi cab industry, but then, you know, you got to pay people because they're using their personal cars, they're using their time, they're using their maintenance costs. They're all these things are eating together, and you know, it's not getting cheaper, it's getting more expensive, but you're trying to pay less. There's a problem here. There's a disconnect, and we got to figure it out. So hopefully we will. But last thing we want to mention, we want to say thank you guys, everybody.
Yes.
We just hit 150,000 subscribers on the channel. So that's a huge milestone. We want to make say very appreciative of that. You know, all of our members, all the people who super chat, everybody who's in the live chat coming week after week, everybody who's following, everybody who's watching videos, every subscriber, you know, appreciate all of this. It's very much appreciative. Sergio, I think you wanted to say a couple of things there.
Look, man, you know, look, seriously, I mean, this has been a great week for me. Okay. And with the help of Pablo and good friend, Brian Merchant at LA Times, you know, our voices are getting amplified. Now we have credibility on the street. You know, there are many channels out there. I don't see any one of their names in any newspaper or any mainstream media channel. These people are trusting us. Now I have my megaphone. I have journalists that I can trust. They trust me. I can amplify everybody's voice, but the only way that can happen is grow the community, right? We've grown our community wonderfully, 150,000 subs. Please tell us about us to your friends, you know, other rideshare drivers, because every rideshare driver knows at least another 5 or 10. We want to keep growing. We want to get our voices louder and louder until we have a seat at the table. That's before I quit, I want to make sure I accomplish that. So all I'm saying to you guys is, without your support, we wouldn't be here. You know, watching videos, obviously, commenting, all great things, but please spread the word. We are really doing good work here, man. We really are. I'm proud of this team I'm on. Obviously, my partner in crime and Chris, but now Pablo is joining the team. I'm proud of, you know, all the you know, people at RSG who really work hard to put good stuff out, as good content as we can, as relevant content as we can. We're more balanced. I think that's why it is to our success, is because we're more balanced. You know, is everything great in the gig world? Absolutely not. Is everything horrible? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I think that's where we are. And I want to thank you, and thank you from all the crew, and you know, we want to see you at 200,000. You know, hopefully in the next 6 months, and let's do this. Let's do this together. Thank you so much.
Well, I think if we hit 200,000, we need to be doing a live show from Hawaii. I think that's a little perk that Harry needs to get us.
Bro, Harry won't even send me in August to Denver for the gig conference. Come on, man.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, he did. He said no.
Namatula, appreciate the super chat. Thank you. If I
Sheldon,
your name, I apologize.
You, Sheldon. You just gave us the 10 back. We gave you 25. Come on, man.
Well, speaking of 25, I'm sure most people want to know exactly what the possibility of a win. So hold on, let me pull this up.
Maybe one more. Okay, Killer I-89. No, my interview is tomorrow with Uber crew. Keep your fingers crossed. I think I'm going to make it. I got good tips from my partner here, so I think I'm going to make it.
Yeah, I think you got, if they don't have like a blackout list saying like our pictures are on it, I think you could be okay, unless they send it over to Uber and then they're like, no, he's definitely not making it, and this is why. But
is that the like the FBI most wanted in the post office? Like the pictures.
Yeah, it could be.
I think we're on that list, man. The guy's gonna see me tomorrow. He's gonna just hang up the Zoom. Like, okay, whatever. All right.
Well, let's get the drawing going. Let's see who's the winner. Dun.
Money,
I'm gonna make a little thing that I can play.
Money.
William Arazo. Congratulations. Right down the street, not too far actually away. Straight down I-90.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Straight down I-90.
Isn't he from Cleveland?
All right. I think of the Ohio area, yeah, right around there.
Cool. All right, William. Okay, William and Sheldon, email me so I can send you the money. There we go.
All right. So,
all right. So thank you, everybody. Seriously, bottom of my heart. And please email me how much money you're getting out of this Prop 22 thing. I know it's a California thing, but you know there are 1.4 million of you, so I'm sure you guys are getting some good bucks. So there we go.
Yep. Yeah, we want to know. We'd love to see how much that's doing. Again, Sergio, Pablo, great job, guys. And then also, you know, next week we need to know if you made the Uber crew, how the meeting went. We're gonna make sure that's part of the show.
I don't know how fast they get back to you, so I'm just gonna do my thing tomorrow.
That's what I mean. We're at least gonna be able to know how it went, or at least how you think it went. So we'll be able to kind of know that way, but. If you know if you were selected or not within that time frame,
for sure.
Then we'll have to know. We'll have to keep it posted. Also, we have our Chicago test that we had done about a month ago when I was in Chicago. Met up with a few drivers for both Uber and Lyft. We ran 2 tests, so we're going to be doing that next week. There was some very interesting things there that came from it. This is the whole sheet of things that I have. I can't even see it because it blacked it out right here. That's the sheet of everything when it came to all the rides that were coming in. So we got quite a bit to go through. Very surprising results when it came down to it. So you'll have to stay tuned for next week on that. And then here we go. Somebody was on the Lyft crew. Total joke.
Okay. Yeah, the guy goes rodeo guy bike life says they be like, wait a minute, we've seen this guy on YouTube. Possibility of that.
This guy cost us millions of dollars just now. You know what? Here's the thing though. What quarter are we in for right now?
I thought about that, Chris. There's 2 months to go for the quarter to end, so we gotta wait 2 months.
Yep. So here I think we're gonna know. I think we're going to know because the amount of money that's going to have to be paid out, it's going to have to be on the balance book. That's a big number right there that I think they're going to have to show. I think they're going to have to show that. So it'll be pretty interesting to see when it comes down to it.
All right, man.
At least on Uber. I don't know if Lyft may, DoorDash may.
I think Lyft paid the least. But I think the 2 that paid the most obviously are actually there's 3 because during the pandemic Instacart was like pretty hard, right, at 2022. So I think DoorDash is going to be the leader. Right behind is going to be Uber Eats, and then behind them is going to be Instacart, then Grubhub, Last mile delivery companies are going to pay the most, and most amount of people and most amount of money. So,
oh yeah, for sure. So we got a great show for you already lined up next week. Do we have any guests or no?
we may. We're negotiating.
All right. Well, we may or may not have a guest, not sure. But yeah, we got a couple of things for you. Don't forget tomorrow, we have Money Hungry with Kim and Zach.
Yes.
They're going to be doing their live stream talking about the rideshare arena and last mile. So if you're doing rideshare last mile, that's definitely the live stream as well to check out. And then also all of our other great content that's coming out on the channel itself. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you do. And also make sure you give a like on the video or on the live,
Please.
especially to show what Sergio and Pablo did. Just give that little click.
And everybody, go read the article, okay? Please. It's in the show notes. Go read the article. I came out this morning early. All the screenshots that you may have missed during the live stream is there. All the evidence, step by step by step, what we did, who we talked to, the evidence, whatever. And there's more screenshots in that than we showed here. You guys will read some happy driver comments as well, how much they got and what their opinion was. So thumbs up. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you all at 200,000. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. Seriously. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see